Okay, so next up we have this really cool kind of vocal background effect, but it almost sounds a bit like a synth, but it isn't. I'm just going to add that to the sounds that we're already listening to. So we've got this bass, we've got the kick, and now we're going to have this group added here, which sounds like this. I think you'll find that that is so important for the vibe of the track and creating that environment that you would be playing this kind of music in. It's actually not that hard to do. I'm going to break it down for you guys. So I started with a hit breath, whatever that means. It's just a sample that I found on my computer. Let me just take off some of these plugins here. Okay. And all it is it's just someone breathing in. Without the reverb, it sounds pretty boring actually. And I just brought it in as MIDI. And I'm putting it on the offbeat of each part, but not every offbeat. So the offbeat of the first beat and then the offbeat of the third beat here. So 1 and 2 and nothing, 3 and there. And to extend it and to soften the blow a little bit, reverb can be great for this. I'm just using the Ableton reverb, nothing special here. It sounds great, the Ableton reverb. I'm even using it on eco, so it's not as high quality, and it's not because my computer can't handle it, just sounds better. I like the tail that's adding as well. Now, let's have a listen to this other sound here that I layered it with, which has a little bit more processing on it, but it was just another vocal hit. And I actually dragged in the audio for this one because I liked how it was, but I changed the timing because I didn't like it starting there, so I liked it starting on the second beat. And that made it the same as that kind of wispy, breathy vocal. So let's have a listen to this. Really, really cool, but needs some love. So one of the plugins I like a lot, which I think is a little underrated in Ableton, is the Corpus. And what it tries to do is take the frequencies and focus them in order to make the sound it's on sound like an instrument. And I love this tube setting. I guess it's like recreating some sort of actual like drain pipe, I think. I'm not sure, but I think it sounds really cool. And it just focuses on a resonance, and it made it a little bit more synth-like as opposed to a vocal. So have a listen to this. It's a little resonant, it's a little weird, but we're trying to mess up this sound. I then got the simple delay, and I loaded this, I think it's called disharmonic. Let me just find out for you guys. Yeah, disharmonics. It's a really, really short delay, but slightly different for the left side and the right. So we've got 22.1 milliseconds and 22.9 milliseconds. That one's to the left, that one's to the right. You can see from the L and the R here. And what that's doing is, because one is ever so slightly slower, it's making it go in and out of pitch because of the way that the waveforms cross over. So let's just do without, and then I'll add it in. And I just like that metallic ring that it was adding. Next up, again, I used the reverb. This time I used the mid quality. I don't really think it adds that much difference, but I like the way it sounded. This one had a high cut on it, whereas the breathy one had a low cut. So I'm kind of going the opposite way with these reverbs. I felt like that complemented each other quite a lot. And really, to be honest, when I loaded this one, all I did was increase the decay time and brought the dry wet down a little bit. Again, trying to put it in that space, put it in that environment. So once I had the two together, I just right-clicked and then I selected group, and that puts them in this group. And that means I can just add effects to both of them at once, rather than having to worry about copying and pasting on each one. And if I change one, then I got to change the other. So ping pong delay, always great for adding a bit of rhythm. I believe that's a dotted rhythm because it's minus 33.3%. So love that. A little bit more reverb, and I just use this to gel them together. Really brought out the highs in the wispy hit breath one. So let's just. Sorry, they weren't actually playing together, but now you can hear them playing together. A little bit of EQ, just rolling off some low end and boosting some of those low mids. There is a kind of ringing sound somewhere, but I'm not too fussed about it. I kind of like that in techno. It has to be a bit dirty. And then a bit of sidechain compression. So same sidechain preset that I made that I was using before. And then I've also got auto pan, so I've got the rate on 2, the amount at 29.4%, so quite low. The shape is not very smooth, so you can have a smooth shape or kind of like a hard shape, so it's panning directly onto one speaker and then the other, or you can kind of make it crossfade between one another depending on how much you turn up and down. Let's have a listen to that. Because the amount is quite far down anyway, it's not super obvious, but I kind of liked it where it was. The panning, the auto pan is there to kind of stop it from being in the middle too much, because I got my drums in the middle, my kick, my bass as well. So I want this floating around a little bit. Even though club systems are in mono, it still is going to add some movement, some ambience. Okay, so let's have a listen to it with everything else now. So there you have it. That's how to make your vocal type synth that is definitely going to add a lot of energy and a lot of environment to your track.
Remember, at Sample Tools by CR2, we also offer a mix and mastering service. Just head over to www.sampletoolsbycr2.com, click on the mastering tab, and you'll find our range of services there.